Dabrali, born and raised uptown, Washington Heights. Yeah, the oldest of three. I like long walks at the beach.
Nice.
Is this a dating website?
Yeah, that's great.
That's it. I like sushi. No, but
Hit her up. Hit her up.
No, I mean, honestly, everything I do has to do with the Dominican culture and uplifting my community. Like in one way or another, like whether I want to or not, like it's embedded in me. And
Nice.
I give a lot of credit to my parents for that because Spanish was my first language. Like I was eating mangú con salami frito, queso frito, like morisoñando. Okay. What's the little thing? The limoncillo.
Oh, what?
Yes. I got put on at like age 3 days old. And yeah, like everything.
And a shot of whiskey.
Right. Presidente.
Brugal.
Yeah, right. And yeah, no, like everything I do, like when it comes to my language, like what I eat, and my career path like has been due to my Dominican culture and because of my parents, for sure.
When did the whole, because from the time that I met you, I know you as a dancer and you have a great energy about you. I guess I want to know, when did that start for you? When did you start dancing? I guess at age 4 days old, when the Dominican culture, they started teaching you bachata.
Actually in the mother's womb.
Yeah. So surprisingly, my dad taught me how to dance, right? So it wasn't my mom. My dad taught me, and every Saturday morning, like he would take out his guira and start playing, and I would just see him like jumping around with the and I'm like, I want to do that too. And so I would dance with him, and I'm the oldest again of three, and I'm like full on daddy's girl, like yeah. And I'm always hanging out with him, and his life is music. Aside from hanging out and playing his guira, like he was a DJ.
Oh, nice.
So best believe I was like always in the Dominican parties. Like, yeah. Like I would go to parties with him while he was DJing, dance like as if I was one of the guests. And they're like, oh, who's that? And, oh, like, hija del DJ. And that was me. And that love for dance has always been in me. I sometimes I see memes like on Facebook or Instagram, like, oh, if you were, your your childhood dream job, what would it be? And I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Like ever since I wanted to be little, like I wanted to be a dancer, and it's honestly expanded to this whole like umbrella that is the brand that I've created, Dancing Dabrali, right? So yes, dance instructor, right, performer, and then now self-published author.
What did the dancing bring to you? I know it was a connection that you have with your dad, but what did it do for you when you started? Yeah, separately. Like, what did it bring you?
It brought me joy. It brought me completion to my life because it was one of those things that, and like complete transparency, I stopped dancing for like 3 years.
Why?
Yeah.
I stopped. Mad at your feet or something? Like what happened?
No, right. Sometimes things happen, right?
No, and so let's say it was right around the time that I had left college.
Okay.
And I was about 20, 21. And I'm here trying to figure out my life. And unfortunately, the typical Latino family is like, well, get a job, get your 9 to 5, make sure you got benefits, make sure you work because you got to pay bills, and that's your life. And I did that. I worked a 9 to 5, right? I was working at an office. And so that takes up time and that takes up energy. And I stopped dancing. I put it to the side and I was like, yeah, I'm going to focus on my career, whatever this means. Maybe it's business, whatever. Yeah, no. Like I ended up moving out of my parents' house, and granted, like it brought me financial stability, and I was great. And, I realized like, all right, well, I'm going from home to work to home. Let me add something fun, right? Well, what's fun for me? I remember I like to dance. Listen, I stepped into that studio and like I get chills till this day because I'm like, why did I leave? let me make this mine. And it was a hard decision, an extremely hard decision. But I did it. And I pursued it full time. And, you know, it's brought me again to where I am today.
What motivated you to
to
take that step, that leap of faith that a lot of people, you know, who may be listening, or, you know, a lot of us been in that situation, you know, even myself, like what made you go for it, even with the fears and doubts, to say, you know what, if I don't do it now, I don't know when I'm going to do it. But what was the last motivating key part that he was like, tomorrow, this is it?
Yeah, my happiness, my mental health, like 100%. Like, it's not even sugarcoating it. Again, full transparency. I went through very low lows, and it affected me in ways that I don't wish on anyone. You know, and so with that being said, like, I never want to go through that again. And I'm just working towards what feels good, what feels right. And while I may or may not know the answer to those questions right away, I will find out, you know. So yeah, like, I am my own motivation.
Nice.
That's beautiful. And so when you chose to full-time go as a dancer, what avenues did you take that you were like, okay, now I am a full-time dancer, but how am I keeping myself, you know, stable financially? Take us through that process for somebody who does want to do that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But at the end of the day, make it your own, right? And I say that because, you know, when I tell people I'm a dancer, they think, or it's common to think, oh, I'm in music videos, or I dance at the VMAs, or
you're a stripper,
hi, yeah, or I get called a stripper, and there's so much more to it that I tried that route because, again, it's commercial dancing, right? Where you literally dance for commercials, you dance for ads, you dance for music videos and parades and live concerts and live performances, and those are brutal. Those are brutal because right off the bat, there's something called typecasting. Okay, you walk into a room and they don't like that there's this little hair here. You're out the room, like, straight up, like, yeah, no, you don't fit the bye. But that's the
choreography. You don't do it the way they want you to do it.
No, and it's so interesting because choreography can be taught, right? Personality cannot. So you have to stand out because everybody in that room is talented. Everybody in that room can dance. You ask them, you know how to dance? They'll be like, yeah. Everybody knows how to dance. Everybody has it. But choreography, we can teach that. Do you have the look? Do you have the personality? Do you know people in the room? Because it's a lot of networking in the entertainment industry. And a lot of those things can then elevate you as a performer, as a product, right? As a business.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting. It was exhausting. And I knew deep down in my heart, I'm like, no, but I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to dance. Does it mean dancing on stages? No. And that's okay. Because what it has meant for me is getting back to the foundation of it all. And it literally is in a classroom. It literally is at a young age. And so a lot of my classes, like, yes, I teach adults, but I also teach children. And just to have them find that love for music and that love for dance is what my path has led me to. Right. So I'm still dancing and I'm making money off of dance and what I love. I'm just not on stage with Sean Paul. Yeah. And that's okay. And that's okay because well, maybe one day one of my kids are going to be on stage with Sean Paul.
Or you're teaching Sean Paul's kids.
Or I'm teaching. Yeah.
When you created Dancing Dabrali, like, what is it about? And what did you learn about yourself teaching others and also the students that you have? Like, take us down that journey from you creating it and the learning process between yourself and the other students.
Yeah. So Dancing Dabrali, as corny as it sounds, but it's an experience.
It's right? Not corny. That's dope. I like that.
Yeah. Thank you. But it really is an experience because you ask me, well, what kind of music do you dance? And I dance everything. Do I dance everything well? That's up to you to decide. But do I enjoy it? Absolutely. Are you going to enjoy it with me? Yes. All right. And that's guaranteed. That's guaranteed. So yes, it's the experience. And so with teaching literally from children all the way to like senior adults, um, I've learned that there's always hesitation, right? The first maybe 5-10 minutes of a class, everyone's like nervous and like, I don't know what to expect. Like there's mirrors everywhere, pre-COVID, of course,
Yeah.
but there's mirrors and everyone's looking at me and the instructor, she's so good, but like what happens? Da, da, da. And it's not about that. It's not about that. As you hear music, you want to dance, let's go. What's stopping you? Yourself, right? And so getting people to be comfortable in their own skin, right, has been a learning process for me because not everyone is. And that's the reality. Also getting people to feel comfortable and, but I don't have any rhythm. No, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And it's not a typical rhythm, but it's your rhythm, right? So find your rhythm, whatever that means for you. Oh, but I'm not doing it right. No, but you're doing it how you want to, right? And how you need to. And I never want to put my students in like a mold of like, well, this is what you should look like and da, da, da. Of course, I'll guide you because at the end of the day, like I'm teaching dance and I'm going to teach it to you, right? But yeah, like don't worry about it. We already have enough pressures on the outside world. In the dance studio with me, it's not. I'm not. Like, no, that's not going to happen. So I've learned a lot on there. Fun fact. When I was little, I didn't take classes. I'm not classically trained. And I say that to say that I am who I needed when I was little. Right. And, because with my family specifically, like dance is seen as like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, Dabrali está bailando. Yeah, she's cute. She's dancing. Yeah, she likes that. But, and it's never seen as, again, a career.
Right.
And the performing arts and just the arts in general, creativity, like, is so important. Your imagination, like, especially at a young age, like, the world is yours, like, literally. And I want to encourage that. And I am doing that in so many ways.
Well,
Like,
you're showing them,
or,
you're the living dream. By you living your dream, making it happen, you're showing them. And we had a couple guests too that I shared the same message, and I feel like it's important to stamp on it. You're showing them a different route. You're showing them like, yeah, this is my 9 to 5, and your 9 to 5. It's okay getting an office job with benefits. I understand it because that's what you needed to do when you came over here to make money and support the family. I get it, and there's no disrespect for that. And I tried that route. And if I have to go back to it, so be it. But I'm going to grind it out with this route. And you are a success story. And you are a role model to a lot of people and to yourself and to your family. Because at the end of the day, yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, she's dancing. She's dancing. That's cute. But deep down, they know, like, oh, shit, she's doing this. She's made it fucking happen. They may not, any family member, they may not verbally say it, but deep down, like, oh, fuck.
And I had a really deep moment with my dad because, my sister, she also freelances. And so she works in social media. And it's such a new industry, right? So shout out to my sister, Demi.
Shout out to your sister.
And, right. And my dad, literally, I mean, so, okay. If you know anything about Uptown Manhattan or just Washington Heights period, like parking is really scarce. So you got to like go around the block a couple times before you find one. And I love doing that with my dad. Like that's our time together. And so we're driving around the block looking for parking. And he's telling me, he goes, not directly, but what I understood was that he admired my sister and I in the fact that we aren't afraid, or we seem like we're not afraid to take risks. And that's something that he wishes that he would have done at earlier stages in life. Yeah. And I just take that and I'm like, huh.
And
that was his I'm proud of you moment.
But not for nothing, I honor your dad for sharing that,
Definitely.
because there's a lot of parents that won't even admit that shit. They'll
No.
die with that shit, but they won't admit it. They won't be like, "You just taught me something."
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He could have easily found a parking spot and end that conversation.
Yes.
So, I think,
That was his I'm proud of you
yeah,
right
shout out
there.
to your
Just
dad
with
for
those
admitting that.
words.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you taught
Like,
him in that
you
moment.
ladies have taken risks. Um, you know, literally picking up and going, and not and literally taking a leap of faith. Like, you're jumping into
The unknown.
nothing, and you're just like, wait, you know what? I believe that much in myself that I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And he sees us as we're, not afraid to take risks,
Yeah.
but reality is we are. But
Right.
does that stop us? Absolutely not. And that's the difference.
One thing that I
Because at
will.
the end of the day, we're human,
Mm.
you know?
I was gonna say too that when you're talking about your teachings and what do you do with people, it's very on a human level. It's not about, yeah, there'll be details and there's basics that I teach you, but the beginning is let's have fun and let's connect, right? And I had a flashback, and it's funny because I in the beginning I talk about, before we started recording, how we met at a Dominican social club and like outside an apartment in the basement in a dark alley. But anyway, my experience with that, right? It's me or Ernesto and stuff like that. We're on the corner and there's music and you're dancing all over. And I remember you asked me, do I dance? And I'm insecure. I was like, nah, I don't really dance like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, ever. And he was like, and you was just like, well, just dance. Like, you don't come. And you pulled me. And I didn't think I was, but I know I probably suck. But you was like, that's it. It's simple. It's like, this is all. And she was like, and I remember he was like, and you're doing it, and you're doing it, and you're doing it. and then that's it. And it was done. And she's like, congrats, you danced. And by you saying that, I was like, well, it was so awesome to like confirm that. I was like, yeah, I remember. Well, without her realizing, she was just teaching me something. And another thing I was gonna mention too is that
Oh, Rick, you gonna make me cry.
you should cry. And another thing is, you're teaching people to connect with their inner child,
Definitely.
to have fun and to be free and not to be judgmental,
And to be themselves.
because that was your truest joy that you had with your dad and the music was to dance and to connect with your inner child. You're giving your students that gift. Adults and children, you're learning from them, they already have it, but you're giving that to the adults now that they need to be like,
constantly be like, oh, we're constantly told, oh, you can't dance, you have two left feet, blah blah blah.
right. And you're just like,
right.
yeah. Every child has rhythm, and every adult has some type of rhythm, but they have joy inside them just to hear a beat or whatever, and you're connecting that with them. I think that's very special, and you should be very proud. I'm very proud hearing this story.
Thank you so much.
And you should cry again.
Yeah. You got me teary-eyed. I'm like, oh my God. I'm on camera. Yeah. No, but that's so funny because, to be completely honest, I don't remember that, but I believe it because that sounds like me. That is me till this day. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
So how did you, so you're dancing and all this, but where did the idea of you writing your own book now come?
Yeah, because honestly, that for me, that shit came out of nowhere.
And that's beautiful, though. Whole. I want you to share it, but I think it's so beautiful what you did, and I want you to share like how did that come about and why you did it.
Yeah. Again, Dancing Dabrali. It's again not necessarily me on a stage performing, but it's under that umbrella. And so my book is literally about a Dominican little girl named Mechi, who learns how to dance with her family in their apartment in Washington Heights. And, that's the story of my life. And I can only speak on what I know. I feel like so many times we limit ourselves to say, well, I'm going to do this now. And then later, I'm going to write my book. Right? I'm going to do this now. but then later I'm going to go on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we do both and?
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely pushed me and nudged me a little harder because last year I was working at a dance camp. And in that dance camp, we were looking up books on different dance styles, and it's a Latin dance studio. So we were looking for books on salsa, merengue, bachata. You let me know if you find any. Okay. And I'm joking around with the director, and I'm like, yo, but we should write one. And he was like, okay, you write one. I said, challenge accepted. And I literally took this project on and wrote my book. And it's like, again, there is a purpose for everything, and I didn't know what that purpose was. Like, I literally wanted to write a book for this dance camp, like just print out some pages and whatever, and that's and like read it to them, and yay, book. But it grew into something way more, and I realize that every time I have a parent direct message me on social media or send me an email or write a review like, my daughter wants to learn Spanish now. My daughter is now asking me to play bachata. Here's a video of my son dancing for the first time with me without hating me.
Oh.
And I'm like,
Oh,
she goes, you are an absolute inspiration. And one of my little friends, and I love bringing her up, her name is Rebecca. I have a picture of her literally looking at the back of my book where I have like my headshot.
Yeah.
And it's me with my curly hair. And she's like, look, Ma, she has crazy hair like me. And I'm just like, yes. And listen, guys, like representation matters. And who knows, like Rebecca's gonna write her own book.
Yeah.
When she's older, and or now. Hi. Like I encourage it all. And it just, yeah, like there's such a bigger purpose to this. And again, there's been so many people like, yo, this is my story too.
Yeah.
And again, I can only speak on what I know, whether it is on a Dominican front or any other culture. Like you learn how to dance in your house with your parents. Like you go to the living room, you play music, and that's it. It's a party. And mind you, it's just your parents and your brother. Like, okay. But it's a whole party. And as I stated, like I can only speak on what I know. And my experience is no different from others in my community. And we need to share more stories like that because we're out here.
Yep.
And we ain't going anywhere.
What's beautiful is not only it's your story, you were able to write your story to a child, but you're also able to share bachata because it's like they say is a dying, like merengue and bachata, kind of like a dying breed because there's like not many new artists. So that's another thing you're adding to the culture. Like you're teaching younger kids what bachata is, what merengue is, because it's a dying genre, and hopefully it's not a dying genre.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's beautiful too, because you're continuing the culture.
What were some challenges of you going through the process of writing this book? Because I could imagine just the next day you said, I'm an author now, and now I got to write a book. You never wrote a book before. Mm-hmm. So what's some things that you learned just writing this book and connecting to your story, maybe some things you probably forgot, and also talk about killing that fear of like, well, I'm going to give myself that title of the author because I'm not going to wait till somebody gives that to me. And I'm going to write my way. I'm not going to write your way. I'm going to find my way. So explain that to us.
You froze again.
Okay. So hold on. You hear me now? Good?
Yes.
All right. So I was saying, what were some of the challenges that you had writing this book? Because you went from dancing one day to now being an author the next day, right? And you said, like, I'm not going to wait till the world to give me this title. I'm a writer. I'm going to do it. I'm figure it out. So what was the process of figuring out your voice with this book, reflecting back on your life, and also building the confidence like, yeah, I'm a writer and I'm going to do this?
Man. um, just doing it, because I feel like the only challenge I really had was very little guidance, because who do I turn to ask, well, hi, how do you write a children's book? And nobody in my family has done something like this before. Um, I have my friends who are in the creative arts, and my network in my sorority sisters like is vast, and I used Google. Like,
Nice.
straight up, how do you write a children's book? And I was so intentional with everything in my book, to what my characters look like, to the names that I used, to the actual illustrations that were drawn out. And the hardest part um, was getting the funds, because the heart and the drive is there. It is there, yes. Um, and I was going to make it happen no matter what. And I made sure not to set a deadline, right? I started writing this in mid-July 2019, and the book was published in March. That's pretty fast. That's pretty fast. Because a book literally, or rather, an author will take at least a year.
Right.
To really solidify the idea, and then find the illustrator, and whatnot. But I was working. I was like, no, we need this more than ever. Like, I need to get on this. I'm not slacking. And literally the power of community, because I reached out to family, I reached out to friends, to help out with this, and they did. I cannot say I did this all on my own, because I did not. I'd be lying. Um, and it's amazing. It's amazing what happens when you believe in yourself, and then others believe you as well.
Yep.
Right? Um, so that, I feel like, was the only challenge, really. Um, and then the second part of the question was,
what did you learn from writing, right?
Yeah, what did you learn about writing
this book?
Well, because you were visiting your life. Was there something in there that you like was reminded of, like, oh man, this was like deep in my childhood that I kind of like forgot for a moment? But like for instance, I know when I was writing my shows, it took me to a whole journey that I learned a lot. Taking responsibilities for things, forgiving myself. So was that there for you? Was there a journey within yourself with this book that you was writing, that you had to revisit your past and learn from it, and also, or even just honor it?
It was more honoring it, because I am such a nostalgic person. Like, I'm constantly on my family group chat. We're like always texting pictures, like old pictures, and we're always bringing up old memories and old jokes. And um, it's like embedded in like every day for me. So perhaps I was doing research all this time for my book. But something that I did learn in honoring this is being able to, again, be that person that I needed and wanted when I was little. Because I mean, watching TV, like, I didn't really see anybody that looked like me.
Yeah.
Or even in the Spanish channels, I didn't see anybody that spoke like me, let alone books. And yeah, that's what I realized. And that's why we need it more than ever. And I think what's important is that I wrote a book, yes. And I can be as wholehearted as I can, right? And I'm proud of it. And at the end of the day, if other people are as well, then great.
Right.
But I feel accomplished, and grateful to have had this opportunity to literally have an idea in my head, right? Of, oh, maybe I'll write a book, to physically having a copy, right? A hardcover, 48-page illustration children's book, right? in my hands and in the hands of so many children and families throughout the world, because it has gone international.
Hey. But this is so inspiring because you are, like you said, living the dream. But it just shows, it's refreshing to see, because I know exactly what you was feeling, having this idea and making it come to life. And I know I can't express it hard enough that it takes drive, work ethic, and also people to help you out. But at the end of the day, it all has to come from you. Mm-hmm. You have to make it happen. And you took this idea and made it happen. There's so many times where I talk to people and they're annoying me in the sense, well, I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know. This. And I'm like, Google it. Figure it out. Google.
YouTube.
Just don't stop there. It's like, you don't know. Ask questions, ask people. If they don't respond, don't wait. Go on Google and keep going. So, and to me, I'm so proud that you did that. You didn't stop. You kept going and looking forward. And look where you at now, and where this book has taken you and going to keep taking you, and the people that you're affecting, not only through through your rhythm physically, right, and showing them, but also through your writing and through your words, is carrying on. And I think that's amazing, and I'll give you some claps for that too as well. Because
children at that, our future.
Right, so. Right. You're preparing another generation to be themselves and to relate to, like, yes, this is what we're about. This is the music.
We have to set each other up for success. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, and you have to be yourself. You have to be yourself, and if that means writing a book about bachata, and because no one else has, that could have easily discouraged me. Well, nobody's ever done that before. Right. No, turn it around. Hey, no one's ever done that before. I'm gonna do it. You know.
You probably
Are you gonna continue to merengue and salsa?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You probably got this question before. But are you gonna do techno? Are you gonna do house music? Are you gonna branch off to different genres?
And salsa first. Come on.
Yes. So it has been on my mind, and it's definitely a question I get asked. Well, when's the sequel? I can't wait to buy the next one.
You will forever get that question, so prepare.
Yes. And honestly, I didn't originally, it was like, I'm going to write this because we need it for the dance camp. Like literally, that was it. I had zero intention to, let alone make profit. Like, and this turned into something so much bigger than what it was intended to do. And I love it. I'm riding the ride. Am I giving myself the pressure of, well, now I'm committing to a book a year? No. I'm taking I'm chilling. Yeah. And will I write one? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Is there any pressure to write one? No. Mm-hmm. Because I am a dancer and I do more of the expression through movement, and in-person interactions. But yeah, I see there's a market for it. And through my book, I've actually had about 5 women reach out to me that I either grew up with or that have heard about me through someone else and whatnot. And I'm currently essentially mentoring them to find their voice and write their own books around children's books and the Dominican culture, because it's needed. It's needed. Definitely. And we are it. We can't wait for anybody else to do it, because they're not. They haven't. Right. It's us.
How did your parents feel about when you, did you tell them, or did you do it first and then tell them? Like, how was their reaction?
So they're so nonchalant, and I love them because they're just so chill. Like, they're just like, oh, okay. Okay. And on my birthday last year, I told them, and I don't think they understood really what I was saying, because I told them, guys, I'm writing a book. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's cute. And I'm like, no, let me read it to you guys. And so this was, granted, it was like the first draft, right? It was on a Google Doc on my phone. I was like, all right, guys. And I'm here reading and da-da-da. And mind you, it's in Spanish, in Spanglish, right? But mostly English with a few Spanish words here and there. And it's us literally sitting in the living room. Like, it was all like formal. Like, my dad was in his chair and my sister was like Okay. And I had my grandma like, she don't understand English, so then there's that. And my mom's like, right. And then my mom was like on my dad's shoulders, and she's just like,
oh my god!
Like they're all like supportive and nonchalant as like AF. And I'm like, okay, this is cute. So I did my reading, right? My first draft. They got the exclusive. And then they went about their day. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cute. And I feel like it didn't hit them until they saw
the actual
the illustration.
Okay.
Because the family, my book's family is the main character. Her name is Mechi, and that is the nickname for anyone named Mercedes. And Mercedes is my middle name. It's my sister's middle name, and it's my mom's middle name. Right? So Mechi is this little girl, and then her brother Jorge, named after my dad and my brother. Their name is similar to George, Giuffretti, Jorge. And the mommy and papi, because that's what they're called in the book, mommy and papi, are my actual parents. So in illustration form.
Is your grandmother in there too? Like,
and that's why, no. Listen, and she fancy because she got her little diamonds, her nails done. But no, she's not in this one. And that's
part
why
two. The merengue one.
Right. See? And so, yeah, like they saw the book and they're just laughing. Yeah. Because they're like, yo, you did this. And like they were just going through the pictures, and I have a video of my dad reading the book. And he was like sniffling. Aww. He got emotional. There is a particular drawing or an illustration. It's towards the end of the book when they're kind of getting comfortable with dancing and having fun. And that illustration is an actual photograph of my parents dancing. My parents have so many pictures in our family albums of them dancing. And there's so much joy in their face. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And if that's genetics, then here I am.
Nice.
But my mom is I want to say they're dancing merengue, but the illustration is them like close, right? And my dad is like all up in my mom's face like this. And my mom is like laughing. Because in the 90s, they had the little mustache. You know, it itches. And she's just like, and that's literally the illustration in one of the dancing scenes of the book. And my dad was just like, you know, like, I can't believe like you immortalized this moment. And he really loves it. He really loves it. And my mom is also like, wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
No.
The grandmother's like,
smack you like just there.
Yo, I got an idea for the other book, and it's not even a joke, right? It just popped in my head, so I got to share it because you should write a book dedicated to your dad's journey about his DJing and the music. You should create a book about his journey, showing him about the little inner child that he still has that wanted to make dreams come true with DJing and records. So it'll be like this inspirational book, his own personal book, to see his life's journey there of this kid that he still can do it, and you're showing him this route. And I think whether it be personal or, you know, for sale, it's his own little personal Bible that he can always go to. And plus, it'll be a great, maybe a Father's Day gift, and then you can tell him that I helped you with it. Happy Father's Day. But yeah, I think that would be pretty dope.
Oh, wow. I actually really like that idea.
Because think about it. Your book helped you and helped others, and also helped your parents also to relive certain things. Just imagine
what that book could do.
What that book can do for him. Absolutely. Because especially since you guys had that moment looking for parking, and he was like, you don't show any fear. In this book, you're going to show him that this kid doesn't have any fear. Has some fear, but he's not allowing it to stop him. And then, you know, you'll figure it out. But then it'll be him all along in the story. And I'm like, wow,
You
this
know what's
this sounds
so
familiar.
interesting? You know what's so interesting? Both my parents, actually, they don't give themselves enough credit
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to tell me at age 23, 24, you are in this paradise, right? Dominican Republic, and you're just going to pick up and go to this
Exactly.
unknown concrete jungle
Yep.
to start a whole new life, learn a whole new language, okay? Work in a whole different career path,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not taking a risk?
Yep.
Exactly.
Come
It's
on.
all the time.
Bruh, you know what's so funny? What they did is worse than what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like what they did.
Don't know a soul. You crazy?
Yeah, what they did takes so much courage and so much risk, even death, because you're going to fucking New York City is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like what?
80s?
Yeah. So like it was like, bruh, like I'm
Yeah.
chasing my dreams. Like you have a whole nother life and kids. Like you have way more at stake right now.
You're
Like,
risking and sacrificing your
Yeah.
dreams. There's two things there:
Yep.
risk and sacrifice. Because they're like all pushing their dreams aside for the betterment of their family.
and
Yep.
what's so funny? They look
know?
at us like you gotta be careful. It's like, no, you gotta be careful. Like
You
don't-
had to be careful when you came
you don't have
here.
any family here. Like you don't even know how to speak English. You got to be careful. At least I know English. I have some little bit of money. Like, and I'm dancing. You living a life with other people and to provide food.
Yo, literally, though,
Yeah.
they don't give themselves enough
They
credit.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
They put so much pressure on themselves.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So Dabrali, we're gonna move forward to our segment, our last segment of the show, and it's basically these questions that we're gonna ask you, and whatever comes to mind, you say it. And this segment is called "Let's Look Inside." And the first question for that segment is, "What do you love about yourself?"
My smile.
Nice, that's a good one.
You do have a beautiful smile. And the last question is, if the average lifespan was 40 years, how would you live your life differently?
As of like right now?
Or it could be another life. It could be another life. It could be this life. If you knew that.
But if you knew it was only 40 years you were going to live, how would you live your life differently? The life you're living now.
It could be this
Like-
one or our
Or
next
if
life.
you-
If you're gonna come back
yeah,
down again and live
that's
this
true.
life, you know what I'm saying? But they're letting you know you only got 40 years.
I wouldn't change anything in particular, but what I would make a modification of is my urgency,
Okay.
Nice. I
right?
like that.
Because
Mhm.
I'd still do what I'm doing now, just quicker, right? Waste no time, and enjoy my days more.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this next segment is like reflection cards, and we're gonna shuffle them. And she already did, and she's gonna pick one. And there's 2 questions there, and then you're gonna answer them, and then we'll go from there.
The first question is, if there is an afterlife or reincarnation, what one memory from this life would you bring with you?
Mm.
My 25th birthday dinner.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the next question is, what is something you wanted for a long time, but once you acquired it, it wasn't as useful as you initially expected?
Damn, these things are
Wow.
good.
Yeah, an office job.
Oh, I was gonna say that. I was trying to feed her. I was like, yo, I think it's a 9 to 5. It's 9 to 5. I hope. Boom, that's dope. We was on the same wavelength. I was like, that had to be it.
Yeah. An 8 to 4, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
The way my energy is set up is not to be in a cubicle.
Mm-hmm.
Yup.
No.
Same here.
So
And I thought that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I did.